Hello there, David Baer here with winebaer.net and Wine Conversations, and welcome to another really exciting conversation. Today I have Marisa Sergi with me. Hi Marissa, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Great, thank you. And we're going to talk to Marissa about her wine label, her family wine business, and a whole bunch of other stuff that she's doing at her very young age of, I know I'm not supposed to ask your age, but can you tell us your age?
21.
21 years old. So let's get right into this. Marissa, you have a wine label called RedHead, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and you've been doing this label now for a few years.
Yes.
Um, let's give our audience a little bit of context of how it is that a 21-year-old who is now, for the first time in her life, legally allowed to drink wine,
Yes.
has had a wine label for a few years now. What's the backstory? How did this all come about?
Sure. So when I was 19, I decided that it'd be really fun to design a wine label that embraced some of my own features. So I called it Redhead, and I surveyed some labels within the market to see what worked. So I try to use three simple colors: red, black, and white. So it wouldn't be too overwhelming for the consumer. So I designed the label and had it approved by the TTB. And my parents own a winery, which is Bella Winery,
Aha.
located in
That's the
Ohio.
key that we were missing up until this point. So
Yes. So no, from Ohio, but the product is California.
Mhm.
Bella brings in grapes from California, and we're a little piece of California located in Ohio, which is really fun.
Cool.
And I put a blend that matched the marketing, which is sweet and spicy like a redhead. So it's a Zinfandel and Carmenere blend. It's 1% residual sugar and has some really unique fruit forward notes and a little subtle spicy kick at the finish.
Cool.
So I launched the brand and company in October 2013. 2014, sorry.
2014. Okay, so
Oh,
this is a
2013. I apologize.
2013. So it's been around about a year, almost a year and a half now.
Yeah,
Cool. And you are, you said originally from Ohio, but I'm speaking to you where? Where are you located right now?
Cornell University.
Okay, and I'm guessing that you are studying something related with wine. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the science of winemaking and grape growing, which is enology and viticulture. I'll be graduating from Cornell May 2015, so a few short months here.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to be able to make winemaking a full time career.
Fabulous. Now, I didn't hear this when we first had the opportunity to chat about what the blend was, but you just mentioned Zinfandel, which has a history in Europe, or we think maybe Croatia, we think maybe somewhere in the south of Italy, and then you mentioned another grape variety, Carmenere, I think is what you said. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Which we know comes from the Bordeaux region and is now really famous for being a sort of the signature grape of Chile.
Yes.
How did you decide to put those two grape varieties together, and where in the heck is anybody growing Carmenere here in California? I had no idea.
Actually, Carmenere is starting to be grown in Oregon or Washington. So my parents are sourcing the grapes from the West Coast. So we
Mm-hmm.
work with a grape broker. She gives us the idea where the best quality grapes are for what we're looking for. So we got the Zinfandel and Carmenere recently, and it's the Zinfandel offers my blend its spicy notes,
Mm-hmm.
and the Carmenere gives it the fruit forwardness, which Zinfandel has some fruit forward
Yeah.
notes, but it's really the characteristic of the spice that I really wanted from the Zinfandel in the blend. So um, it's really exciting to have an opportunity to have such a unique blend for an upcoming brand.
Yeah. It's quite. I was going to say unique, but it's probably not unique. It's probably very unusual. Is probably the right way to describe it.
Yeah.
So let's do a little bit more of the backstory, because growing up in a family that has a winery, first of all, for the majority of our viewers, probably are going to be surprised that there's wine made in Ohio in the first place. Um,
Yeah.
but in fact, every one of the 50 states does have some sort of wine production going on. Tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up with wine as sort of the family business.
Yeah, my grandparents came over from Italy, and my father bonded with my grandfather by making wine.
Hmm.
So I'm a third generation winemaker. I hung out with my parents' friends and my grandparents' friends when they made wine in the back garage before we had the winery. So my sister and I would try to turn the hand crank press ourselves, and we would taste some of the grapes before they were crushed and pressed. So it's a very thing that's near and dear to my heart because it's such a memory I have,
Hmm.
and being able to help my parents at the winery and study at Cornell University to have a degree so I could further my career in winemaking is just amazing since I could carry on my passion and family tradition into a lifelong career.
That's great, and it's probably something that most young folks don't get exposed to. Certainly most people, if there is a family business, don't have any interest in the family business these days. They want to go off and venture into something else. So you have been fortunate enough to embrace that sort of family tradition within your own family, but the same kind of tradition that we see in European winemaking families as well, and
Yeah.
that's really fabulous. All right, so you have this background with a family winery. You decided to go off and make your own wine, and you and I connected via, I think, Facebook originally, and I started seeing all of this fabulous stuff that you are doing to promote your business and also um, engage in other entrepreneurial activity around this brand that you're in the process of developing a following for and developing a market for. And I assume that that has something to do with the stuff that you're doing at Cornell. But why don't you give us an overview of sort of the various business activities that you've been pursuing recently? Because it seems like a lot.
Yes, absolutely. So recently I competed at the Queen's Entrepreneurs Competition, which is a global business plan competition endorsed by the New York Times, located in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And RedHead Wine's business plan was ranked as one of the top 15 in the globe. And we competed and we were placed one of the top six out of the 15, and we were awarded the Learning Award of $1,000 for funding. And that isn't even the best part. I had the opportunity to pitch my company for 20 minutes to the senior vice president of Constellation Brands, marketing of Constellation
Mm-hmm.
Brands, excuse me. And he had a lot of positive feedback and really enjoyed my presentation. So just being able to talk about my business ideas at such a young age to such important people that are knowledgeable and that represents a company that is one of the second largest in the United States. It is such an honor and so humbling for me to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, you're referring to Constellation Brands, second largest in what, the wine industry or beverage world? Is that what they're?
Yes, just
Uh-huh.
wine producers. They
Okay.
have many brands,
Mm-hmm.
just like Gallo. Gallo is one of the top. It's the top in the United States for sure,
Okay.
and around the world. But Constellation is a huge player in the
Mm-hmm.
wine industry. They have amazing brands such as like Arbor Mist and the Dreaming Tree, which is a line of wine endorsed by the Dave Matthews Band. I'm a big so lots of cool brands that they have, and just really like what they're doing with their company.
That's great. That's fabulous. So you said we. Who was this a school project that you got other students to work together with you on, or?
Yes. So I wrote my business plan with my friend Elizabeth Schvidke.
Mm-hmm.
She is an A major, which she studies applied economics and management at Cornell.
Okay.
And I recruited two other people at the hotel administration school, Zach Burrell and Gavin Hilder. They have been helping me with the marketing and business development side of RedHead.
Hmm.
So we all traveled to the Queen's Entrepreneurs competition and pitched together. So it's great to have it as a group effort.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So, talk a little bit about that business plan because to be one of the top 15 globally, there's got to be something that's a little bit different than simply just starting a new wine label and trying to get people to sell it.
Yes, definitely. An advantage that I feel that I have is that I have proof of concept. Acquired my first distribution contract with Superior Beverage Group. They service over 11,000 locations in Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
including Giant Eagle, which is the 50th largest grocer in the United States. and I have about 20 locations currently under Superior Beverage Group. And having the ability to show the judges that my business not only is a good idea, but people do like the concept, the label, which was designed to attract impulse purchases, does do that,
Yeah.
as well as people continue to purchase it because they enjoy the quality and taste of the blend. So being able to show that I have execution from the idea to the actual appeal to the consumers is something that I really have an advantage over.
You've just introduced something very powerful, a concept for folks, whether they're wine drinkers or whether they're business people who are, intimidated by wine. There is an art and there's a science to getting people to engage with the wine based on the label, and then getting them to appreciate what's in the bottle enough to want to come back and repeat that process again and again, and that's very smart.
Absolutely. I help make the wine with our winemaker at Lupabella, Charles Crespi, and we pride ourselves on giving our customers the best quality and product as possible. So I want to be able to tie in the quality of an idea, the RedHead label. It's more of a lifestyle brand. You just go home, you could have the RedHead wine, by the TV with some pizza or with a nice meal with steak. It's an appeal that you could have at a party or just, relaxing with your friends. So I want to be able to show that my brand is versatile within my target market, millennials and women.
That's great. Now, we've talked about winemaking, we've talked about your upbringing, we've talked about the entrepreneurship, and there's yet another side to you and your life. And I wonder, without me, spilling the beans, if you might introduce to our audience what else, aside from all of this that you've been doing, you're involved with.
And currently, I am Miss New York Collegiate America. The Miss Collegiate America pageant system was recently ranked as the second best scholarship pageant in the United States, right below the Miss America organization.
Wow.
And I am promoting the national platform, Brave, Building Respect and Values for Everyone, which focuses on anti-bullying within schools and communities. I wanted to represent this pageant system because I really resonate with the platform. I was bullied throughout my life, especially because of my red hair, and I wanted to tie in my insecurity, which I mentioned earlier, my red hair, into this label because I want to show people that you could embrace who you are and embrace your unique qualities. Everyone has something unique to bring to the table, and I think that's what makes everyone special. So I'm trying to be proactive about the platform and just show others that even though you may have been bullied in the past, that you could take that negative energy and fuel it for your success, and just attitude really changes everything in your life. As long as you are positive and put things in perspective and try to help others along the way, that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to.
That's fabulous. So you've clearly sort of thought through all of this and put all of these various pieces of the puzzle together to support your business, your brand, and some of the themes in the pageant. Even sounds like you're relating that back to what you're trying to build with RedHead. So that's fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you have now started officially, legally, as I mentioned earlier, getting exposed to wine. What have you discovered? I'm just going to make an assumption that you've been aware of things before the age of 21, but haven't necessarily partaken. Who knows?
Yes.
But as you've been learning about sort of the various aspects of wine, the history of wine, what are the things that are attracting you most about the world of wine? Where are the things that you've sort of started to get a glimpse of and investigated, and what are the things that you want to learn more about?
Yeah, absolutely. I took an introduction to wines and vines course in my freshman year, and I learned about the history of wine. And people need to realize that without wine and beer, we wouldn't exist here today. Because back centuries and centuries ago, there wasn't any sophisticated water systems that would clean and purify your water so it'd be free of bacteria and diseases. And a lot of like the Romans and other Middle Eastern empires would mix water and dilute wine with it. So the acidity and ethanol would disinfect and clean the water so you could drink it safely without getting sick or dying. A lot of empires that have been really popular have been structured around wine. That's why wine is such a huge thing in the history books and in the Bible. So I want to educate people, especially as a young millennial, that alcohol is not should not always be deemed as something inappropriate for young people. You should appreciate what it can bring to the table, especially it has those properties that it could make such a important, crucial aspect to our very existence. Water, safe to drink when you don't have access to clean water.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should do that today, since we do have the sophisticated systems, but I've been able to gain appreciation from the historical side, as well as making it a career and show that wine offers something enjoyable to when you're drinking a meal and sharing a special moment with your family or someone special. You have such a wonderful culture around the winemaking industry. Everyone's so friendly and so willing to share their experiences and their knowledge. It's such a wonderful community to get involved in. I've had nothing but positive experiences as my endeavors to grow my company has started. I've had so much support and encouragement that people want me to succeed, and that this is such a wonderful industry that many should explore if they like food, wine, and wonderful company.
Yeah. Great, and great to hear that history as well. I think people don't necessarily have the perspective that you've been able to gain.
Yeah.
So there's wine made all over the world. I know that you have experience with wine from California as well, and I think you've mentioned elsewhere in chatting with you briefly in the past. What are the sorts of influences that you consider so far in your wine career and your winemaking experience so far, and where are the things that you sort of are curious about and want to learn more about?
I definitely want to travel to France to experience the wine country. I actually had someone give a guest lecture in my wines class yesterday from France, and this really exposed me to such an industry that I'm not familiar with. I am 75% Italian, believe it or not, I have red hair. And I'm not very familiar with the French culture of wine. I'm very familiar with being Italian and the Italian industry and the California and United States wine industry. But French wine has such a significant play in the popularity of United States wine success in the first place. In 1976, California and France went head to head, and California wine was picked every time over the French wine, which the French picked. So they're very shocked that California wine was such an amazing industry to produce such high quality wines that they would think were superior as a blind test tasting to theirs. So I just want to explore what the French wine industry is all about and be able to educate myself to bring new ideas to freshen up what jobs I'm working on, or RedHead at the time, to give myself more of an advantage in education to succeed even more.
That's great. So with your brand, your label, what do you see in terms of growth of the brand? Is it always going to be just one wine? Do you have an idea of expanding it into other things? What are the things that are sort of you're toying around in your head about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm currently working on a few line extensions right now. A Zinfandel, so RedHead Reserve, and a potential RedHead Raspberry. So it's just a raspberry infused flavor with a wine base. So I just want to give my brand a larger audience, which millennials and women, which is the current target market, is a very large and growing target market currently. But people who don't traditionally drink wine would really enjoy the RedHead Raspberry, and those who are the classic California wine drinkers that like more dry, not 1% residual sugar like the current RedHead blend is now, would really enjoy a nice classic Zinfandel Redhead Reserve.
Well, again, clearly you're thinking like a business person here because you're recognizing that there's a market that you're overlooking if you don't, introduce an extension of the brand that will address them and their needs, and that's
Yeah.
very, very smart. So, well, good. What's ahead for you in May? Where do you have plans to continue this journey?
Well, currently I am preparing to compete at the Miss Collegiate American National Pageant, which is held in Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida.
Great.
The national pageant is held on the July 4th and 5th, so I am going to try my hardest to do my best, and I'm really excited to meet the other contestants and to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
But other than the competition, I recently signed a full-time offer as a new product winemaking position under E&J Gallo Winery.
Oh,
So
congratulations!
thank you. I'm very excited. They're a wonderful company. I interned for them last summer in this department that I was hired for, and I really love the people. And Gallo is such an amazing company. They have so much opportunity and a lot of amazing wines that they produce. So I am very excited to take my Cornell education and what my experience has been in the past with my brand and my parents' winery to Gallo to contribute to their growing company.
Well, that's terrific. A lot of people in the wine industry, we see large companies that are producing millions of cases of wine. We see small family farms that are producing maybe 2,000 cases or even fewer sometimes. And we don't equate the two with each other. But I think over the years, I've seen that the larger companies are very much involved in helping nurture the future, small company owners. A lot of the folks who have the ability to go out and venture out on their own, like you are already, and start a small family winery, get their start with these larger organizations and really get the exposure, the training, and get to understand the entire process. So I think it's a very smart place to be able to start the journey, and who knows where you'll continue on from there.
No, absolutely. I definitely have a plan to take some online business classes this summer, and I want to apply to Harvard Business School, and I want to try to grow RedHead into a nationally distributed brand.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'll be working for Gallo full time, I have a team at Lupabello that will be taking over for the RedHead brand, and I will be giving them advice so I could focus on working for Gallo full time. But I do have a goal of making RedHead a very large brand and something that people could appreciate and enjoy with their family, friends, and any occasion.
That's great. Well, hey Marisa, any last words to share with our audience about your experience, about winemaking, about introducing wine to your target audience, that the younger age that maybe just encountering their first wines? And the platform is yours, so I'll let you have our last words today.
Absolutely. I definitely suggest that you take this piece of advice with everything that you do. The answer is always no if you don't ask. I want to tell people that if you're passionate about something and truly believe in a concept or an idea, you should go out and try your hardest and write a business plan and try to get a team together, get advice. Don't be afraid to ask for help because I've had so much amazing support from my friends, family, the Cornell community, and those who are supporting my entrepreneurial endeavors from afar through Facebook and social media marketing. You can do anything that you put your mind to as long as you're passionate and believe in yourself. So I really hope that I inspire others to really do something that they've always been like, oh, I have this really cool idea, but oh, I don't think it's going to work. Mm-hmm. Believe in yourself, and you will be amazed on what you can do.
Well, those are great words to end with, and I appreciate the message, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us today. So, Marisa Sergi, thank you so much. I want to invite everybody to start looking for RedHead in your marketplace over the next year or two. We know that it's already placed in Ohio, and we're hoping that you'll find some additional placements for the brand in the upcoming months in neighboring states, perhaps, and then throughout the rest of the country in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
So,
I hope so.
Great. All right. Well, we will see you all on another Wine Conversations coming up within the next week or two. So thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.